Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military figures. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore the remarkable life of Prince Maurice of Nassau, a Dutch prince who would become one of the most influential military minds of the 17th century. Born on November 14, 1567, in Dillenburg, Germany, Prince Maurice was destined for greatness, and his early life laid the foundation for his future achievements. Prince Maurice's childhood was marked by turmoil and upheaval. His father, William of Orange, also known as William the Silent, was a prominent leader in the Dutch revolt against Spanish rule. The family's home, Dillenburg Castle, was a hub of political activity, with William of Orange often hosting meetings with other rebel leaders. Prince Maurice's early years were spent amidst the sound of clanging swords, the smell of gunpowder, and the murmur of hushed conversations. As a young boy, Prince Maurice was deeply influenced by his father's strong sense of justice and his desire for Dutch independence. William of Orange was a complex figure, driven by a mix of political and religious convictions. He was a devout Calvinist, and his faith played a significant role in shaping his views on governance and leadership. Prince Maurice would later inherit his father's unwavering commitment to the Dutch cause and his unshakable faith. The historical context of Prince Maurice's early years was marked by significant events that would shape the course of European history. In 1568, when Prince Maurice was just 1 year old, his father led a failed rebellion against Spanish rule, forcing the family to flee to Germany for safety. The following year, in 1569, Prince Maurice's uncle, John of Nassau, played a crucial role in the Battle of Moncontour, where French Huguenot forces suffered a devastating defeat at the hands of the Catholic League. As Prince Maurice grew older, he began to take on more responsibility within his family. In 1575, at the age of 8, he was appointed as the Baron of Breda, a strategic fortress city in the southern Netherlands. This early appointment not only reflected his father's trust in him, but also marked the beginning of his own military career. Prince Maurice's education was tailored to prepare him for leadership, with a focus on military strategy, diplomacy, and governance. The influence of Prince Maurice's family members on his development cannot be overstated. His father, William of Orange, was a towering figure in Dutch politics, and his uncle, John of Nassau, was a seasoned military commander who would later play a significant role in Prince Maurice's own military career. The strong bond between Prince Maurice and his father was particularly noteworthy, with the young prince often accompanying his father on military campaigns and diplomatic missions. One notable example of Prince Maurice's early exposure to warfare was his presence at the Siege of Maastricht in 1579. Although he was only 12 years old at the time, Prince Maurice witnessed firsthand the brutality and complexity of war. This experience would later shape his own approach to military strategy and tactics. His exposure to warfare, his education, and his family influences have all contributed to his development as a future military leader. With his father's legacy weighing heavily on his shoulders, Prince Maurice is poised to make his mark on history. As Prince Maurice grew into adulthood, he became increasingly involved in the Dutch military efforts, leveraging his education and family connections to make a name for himself as a skilled commander. In 1585, at the age of 18, Prince Maurice was appointed as the Stadtholder of Holland and Zeeland, two of the most powerful provinces in the Netherlands. This appointment marked a significant turning point in his career, as he began to take on more responsibility for the military strategy and defense of the Dutch territories. One of Prince Maurice's earliest and most notable achievements was his innovative approach to warfare. He recognized that traditional methods of combat, which often relied on heavy cavalry and siege warfare, were no longer effective against the modern Spanish army. In response, Prince Maurice developed a new style of warfare that emphasized speed, mobility, and adaptability. He introduced the use of lighter, more agile infantry units, supported by powerful artillery and clever tactics. This approach paid off in spectacular fashion during the Battle of Turnhout in 1597, where Prince Maurice led a small but highly mobile force to a crushing victory over a much larger Spanish army. The Spanish forces, weighed down by their heavy armor and cumbersome siege engines, were unable to cope with the rapid movements and clever tactics employed by Prince Maurice's troops. The Dutch victory at Turnhout marked a significant shift in the balance of power in the region, as the Spanish began to realize that they could no longer take the Dutch for granted. Prince Maurice's military successes were not limited to the battlefield. He was also a skilled diplomat and strategist, able to navigate the complex web of alliances and rivalries that defined European politics during this period. In 1598, he played a key role in negotiating the Treaty of The Hague, which established a formal alliance between the Dutch Republic and England. This treaty not only provided a significant boost to the Dutch war effort, but also helped to secure Prince Maurice's position as a major player on the European stage. He was driven by a strong sense of justice and a desire to protect the Dutch from the oppressive rule of the Spanish. At the same time, he was also aware of the larger implications of his actions, recognizing that the fate of European Protestantism hung in the balance. The influence of Prince Maurice's family members continued to play a significant role in his life during this period. His uncle, John of Nassau, remained a trusted advisor and mentor, providing valuable guidance and support as Prince Maurice navigated the complexities of military command and diplomatic intrigue. Meanwhile, his father's legacy continued to weigh heavily on his shoulders as he sought to live up to the example set by William of Orange. His innovative approaches to warfare, his diplomatic skills, and his unwavering dedication to the Dutch cause have all contributed to his growing reputation as one of the most influential figures in European history. By the early 1600s, Prince Maurice had solidified his position as the leader of the Dutch Republic, and his military campaigns had brought significant gains for the Dutch people. However, the Spanish were not yet ready to concede defeat, and they launched a series of counterattacks against the Dutch territories. In response, Prince Maurice developed a new strategy that emphasized the use of fortifications and defensive warfare. One of his most notable achievements during this period was the development of the Dutch waterline, a series of fortified defenses that utilized the country's unique geography to protect its cities and towns from Spanish attack. By flooding certain areas and creating a network of canals and waterways, Prince Maurice was able to create a nearly impenetrable barrier against the Spanish army. Prince Maurice's military successes were not limited to his defensive strategies. He also continued to innovate on the battlefield, introducing new tactics and technologies that allowed the Dutch to gain the upper hand against their enemies. For example, he developed a new type of artillery that used a combination of cannons and mortars to devastating effect, allowing the Dutch to breach even the strongest Spanish fortifications. As Prince Maurice grew older, he began to take on more of a statesman's role, working to secure alliances and negotiate treaties with other European powers. In 1609, he played a key role in negotiating the 12 Years' Truce, which brought a temporary end to hostilities between the Dutch and Spanish. This treaty marked a significant turning point in the history of the Dutch Republic, as it allowed the country to consolidate its gains and establish itself as a major player on the European stage. Despite his many successes, Prince Maurice's later years were not without challenge. He faced opposition from within his own government, as well as from external enemies who sought to undermine his authority. However, he remained steadfast in his commitment to the Dutch people, and he continued to work tirelessly on their behalf until his death in 1625. He was a true statesman and leader who worked tirelessly to protect and promote the interests of his people. His innovative approaches to warfare, his diplomatic skills, and his unwavering dedication to the Dutch cause have all contributed to his enduring reputation as one of the greatest figures in European history. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.